Ciao Bellezza! Now you remember the last video I did, I think it was the last one. Anyway, I made tahini and I said I'm going to tell you what to use the tahini with. So today I thought I'd make falafel. I know it's one of your favorites. It's definitely one of mine. And so let's get started to see what we need. What I did yesterday is you have to get the dried out chickpeas, okay? And you have to submerge it in water for at least 8 hours, if not overnight. So I did it overnight, okay? And they get twice the size when you do that overnight. So let's rinse these out. See if that'll stay. Oops. So I like to rinse them out a little bit. And we'll leave that there dripping. Okay, so for this recipe, to make a really successful falafel, in my opinion, you're going to need a few things. All right, so some of the things that you're going to need are a roughly chopped onion, between 1/4 and 1/2 cup of parsley. I like a little more, so I always add 1/2 cup, but you can choose to do whatever you want. 4 roasted garlic cloves. You could do raw too, but I like the robust flavor. I put about 1.5 tablespoons of chickpea flour, so you can find that in most stores. Then over here I have 2 teaspoons of cumin, 1 teaspoon of coriander. I have about 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1.25 teaspoons of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And then in here in this trio, I don't know if you can see this very well, I have about 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of cardamom, and about, 1/4 teaspoon, sorry about that, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of cardamom, and I have about roughly 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Okay, so this is all that you're going to need for the falafel. However, there is one little secret ingredient that will change the whole flavor of this wonderful recipe. So we'll get to that when it's time. Let's put everything together. I have this very, very old Black & Decker food processor. I don't even think Black & Decker knows that they used to make these back in the day. I mean, we're talking 30 years old, but it still works. So until it breaks, this is what I'm using. Oh, by the way, look what I got. Oh yeah, I got my mixer. Okay, let's continue on. So we're gonna put everything together. Now sometimes things may be too many at a time, so you can blend a little bit at a time, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put a little bit in. At a time. Oops. Oh, look at that. It's you. I'll be right back. Oddly enough, I just got off the phone with you. Put in the roasted garlic. Put in the onion. That happens. The parsley, chickpea flour, cumin, coriander. God, that smells so good. Baking soda, some salt. Let's put the trio ingredients in and the baking powder to make it just a little fluffier. You notice I only put 1/2 of the chickpeas in because I want this to blend in very well before I put the rest. Here we go. Okay, let's put this in. Let's do it. Okay, so now's a good time to put in my secret ingredient. You want to know what it is? Very yummy whiskey. Not only for drinking, also for cooking. I'll show you. What it does, what the whiskey does, it basically gives it this incredible moistness on the inside, but crispiness on the outside. Okay, we are ready. So now you notice that some of the chickpeas still may be whole. I will physically remove those out of the way as I'm rolling this up to fry them in avocado oil. It's a lot of falafel, I could tell you that. Woo. All right, I have the avocado oil. You can use peanut oil. You know, some people prefer canola oil. I don't. I love avocado oil. I think it works best, but your choice. And so basically, all I'm going to do here now is roll them up in little balls and fry them up. So you just roll them up. The way I roll them up is really, I kind of pat them and squish them together. They're not like meat balls where they kind of form. You have to squeeze them into shape and then put them in some hot oil. I like avocado oil because it burns hotter in a healthier way than olive oil. Keep them in there until they become like this golden brown. Don't put too many in at a time because you want them to have the space and room to move freely, especially when you're turning it around. Now I can't find the correct spoon I'm looking for, but I like to turn them over, just like so. So you need the room to move them around, just like that. And just let them continue on their little cooking journey. So you want to make sure they turn into this really nice golden brown. That's when you know they're done. So we are starting to see that it's starting to turn a nice golden brown. We're just going to let it cook for a little longer until it's the color that I think it should be. Nothing more gratifying than knowing when your food's almost done and then you get to try it to see if it came out as fabulous as it looks. Now these look perfect to me, so I'm just going to take it out, down. Now you may be asking, why am I not putting a paper towel on the plate to absorb the oil? And I'm going to tell you why. Because when you do that with falafel, it makes the outer edge a little softer. And we want the outer part of the falafel to be crispy while the inside is moist. Let me make a few more. Okay. All right, these look perfect. But you may wonder, where is it that I learned about this little secret ingredient? Well, it just so happened that when we were in Montreal and we went to that one restaurant that was basically a dive restaurant, I walked in and I saw the gentleman pouring some sort of liquid in his mixture as he was making his homemade falafel. And when I asked the gentleman what it was, he refused to tell me exactly what it was, but I realized it was some sort of liquor. And through some experimentation and such, I decided to do the experiment myself. And I come to realize that of all the liquor or hard liquor that I've used, whiskey is the best. It's the only one that you can use without altering the flavor of the falafel. Other ones will change the flavor, rum, vodka, but whiskey, now I haven't tried bourbon. I would like to see if that would make a difference. Does not alter the flavor at all. Okay, see, I made a lot of falafel. Now this is the kind that I would do if I had guests coming over, people coming over, but since it's just Spazzo and I, this rest, I'm going to try to freeze. I've never done it before. I don't even know if it's gonna come out right, but I'm gonna try and see what happens, so wish me luck. But in the meantime, we're almost done with the portion that I do want to make, and then we'll have to try the taste test, see if it came out. So, how would I dress falafel? Well, there are many, numerous ways. You can put them in pita, you could put red onions, if you want some tomatoes and cucumbers. Sometimes I add tzatziki, and sometimes I'll just do the tahini sauce. But for today, My only mood really today is to just to have a few, which I'm going to put up in this plate. And this very few, all I'm going to do is drizzle this tahini sauce all over it, just like so. Looks so good. Yes. Let's do this. Remember that movie, What About Bob? So crispy and so moist on the inside. And the tahini sauce just adds this extra delight to the dish, where I personally don't feel like I need to add anything else to it. But it's up to you. I hope you enjoy Bellezza, and una buona giornata. Ciao bella mia. Alla prossima.